Hi, hello, welcome to the Spiritual Report brought to you by Vertex of Abundance. My name is Serene Priestess of Love. I'll be your oracle today. I was sent to deliberate the findings for the Venus ingress into, I believe it's Taurus. I sure hope it is. That's going to actually happen on Monday, the 30th, in most places around the world, give or take half a day, depending on where you are. If you're new, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. It's a delight and an honor to serve. Thank you for allowing us the privilege to do so. If anything resonates deeply with you, comment, share, subscribe, leave a review, book a consult, send a donation. There's a flash sale going on. Information's in the show notes. And flash sales are temporary. They don't last forever, just so you know. If you can go ahead and smash that like button right now, we'd appreciate it. Vertex of Abundance is the Galactic Temple of Ascension, delivering sacred messages from behind the veil. Today, we will be deliberating the findings from the Thoth Tarot. That is illustrated by Lady Frida Harris, created by Aleister Crowley. And we will be imposing the guidance from a couple few things, but mainly the Star Oracle. The Star Code Oracle is by Heather Robbins. That's over at Hay House Publishing, at least for this deck. Just a quick prayer for all those still lost out there. Two, illusion, delusion, confusion, lost in the seas of time, trapped somewhere in the matrix. Yet to heal, yet to awaken, yet to return to the resplendent grace of the divine, unconditional, loving, universal oneness. Upon a great spirit, we love you. We're sorry. Please forgive us. Thank you. We ask that our steps be ordered. We ask that our path be illuminated. We ask that we find salvation and redemption in this lifetime. May we be happy. May we be whole. May we be at peace. May we receive everything we ever wanted, starting with what we deserve. I mean, okay, so so we have a narrative. There's a multiphasal going on. There's been some blockages to love. What that looks like, what that is, it's unclear. Because we're wanting union. Maybe union, communion, partnership with the Two of Cups, maybe just to be on the same page, birds of a feather, sister, brotherhood, whatever, what have you. It could also be some type of ancestry, shared origin. It doesn't have to always be bloodline. It could be alma mater as well, from the same neighborhood, from the same school, from the same, vision, ideal, belief, agreement. There's been some either exploitation, infiltration with the Knight of Swords, and I say that also because we have the another card confirming Nine of Swords, Knight of Swords. They both go together. Oftentimes, if there's an oppositional energy, it could be trying to hunt, target. Something could have us in the crosshairs, whether it's an energy, entity, ideology. We don't know. It could also be if it's internal or something going on within ourselves, something that we have to do, something that we have to go through, something that we're struggling to understand, to overcome, to complete. Again, if we're dealing with inimical energy, not just adversarial, there could be a backfire on the opposite side, on the opposing side, on the counter, whatever is mirroring, or just, across the aisle. There could be some type of haunting because of the backfire, mainly because there's some type of either, again, backfire, I'm getting grief for some reason. We don't have a Five of Cups here, but the Two of Cups with the Nine of Swords can mean that there's a delay, a death, a disruption, a rupture of some type because there was a fundamental mistake, a flaw. But again, for a backfire in an oppositional energy, that could be guilt or shame. So they're hunted for that. If we're being hunted, it's where we've been targeted crosshairs, something tried to infiltrate, penetrate, some type of authentic self true nature, because we have the King of Cups. That means we possess the love of the divine, really, God, whatever technology we use, even if it's agnostic. Now, King of Cups versus Knight of Cups, that's God versus Jesus. So here it means that we are giving. Kings are grand commitment to external exchange. King, Queen would be internal exchange. So this is a commitment to give love, unconditional love, really. It could be counselor, it could be father. Here it's saying that we try to give love, or we try to master our authentic self true nature, and there's some fundamental situation that we're trying to overcome. Mainly with this energy here, if something could be happening when the sun moves into Cancer, or when for the Libra risings out there, when the sun transits our 10th house. Said differently, we can be dealing with a Cancer energy, especially on the other side. Because there's been some kind of love, McLova. I'm getting that energy. Some love wants to come through, pull through. What it is, though, I don't know. There's some trouble here. And so when Venus moves into Taurus, it'll be mainly Aries season, the last week of March into the first few weeks, really the first 3 weeks of April. That's Ariete, that's Aries season. And if Venus is moving through Taurus, really what we have is Venus in the second house for most of that cycle, not the entire cycle. But most of that cycle, Venus will be moving to the second house. So we will be giving, because Venus actually doesn't rule emotions like people believe. It actually rules feelings, it rules love, it rules union, communion, partnerships, but also congeniality or filiality. Really, what it does is it brings together, not harmony, that's the moon, but it brings together mutually beneficial nourishing needs exchange, in the sense of if we have shared needs, we're going to actually need to meet those needs in union, communion, partnership, and Venus gives us that energy there. What it is it brings us to the love ascension of any cycle that we're going through. So if we're having an Aries season and the love ascension is coming to the second house, it can be, if we value union, communion, partnerships, that will be highlighted, or if we value any type of material matter. Now, as long as it is to enrich our material experience so that we have what we need to spiritually ascend, Venus will highlight that as well. Venus is not going to help us when we're unaligned in the fact where we can't be, conscious, especially as a love ascendant being, especially as a mutually beneficial, nourishing needs exchange. Okay. There's been a blockage to giving union, showing up. It's not like we didn't try. From my understanding, about 3 months ago, we started this cycle where we were thinking about a bigger, brighter, better future. We were on a spirit common life path destiny. We were dealing something with the calling on our life, and we had to overcome a couple few things about that. And it's because we're supposed to post up in some kind of spot. It could be a platform, it could be a pulpit, it could be a throne, and it can be some type of union. But this union was preordained in some way. And there's some obstacles to it, Nine of Swords, that something is in the way. And it could be that there needs to be self-work. It could need to be that there's shadow. We could need to walk through the darkness a little bit. I actually feel like over the next couple few weeks, really on the way towards the Libra full moon or the week after, we're going to discover what was missing to some type of union. Something's been in the background. It needs to happen. It's bringing out sorrow, and it's not entirely on our end. However, it is because of our behavior. Somebody's feeling some kind of way because we're not showing up. Now, what I'm gaining here is that we used to do something. We used to be accessible, approachable, amenable, agreeable, and we had to switch it up because of, you deal with the pain of self-respect or you deal with the pain of self-betrayal. Both are painful. Now, pain is not suffering. It's just a struggle. It's to cleanse. It's to purify. Austerity cleanses. Okay. So even if we're dealing with the pain of self-respect, we've got to set up that foundation. We've got to open up and tell another person what our needs are, whether this person's congenial, filial, meaning romantic, friend, business, romantic, whatever, what have you. We've got to share who we are. We need to be authentic. Connection requires vulnerability. Vulnerability requires authenticity. What is intimacy? Well, intimacy is trust, closeness, vulnerability, and warmth. Meaning we can't be cold and prickly. We need to be warm and fuzzy, or at least accessible, approachable, amenable, agreeable. Something tells me that we weren't. Now, on the reverse, or if this energy is being mirrored by another person, because I'm getting strong Cancer energy. If we don't have any planet in Cancer, and if we are not a Cancer, this may be talking about a Cancer sun or a Libra rising. It could also just simply be talking about when the sun moves through the sign of Cancer, and it is talking very strongly about this someone's 10th house, and this person's their main identity is about coming through and showing up. That's what they want to project to the world, and that's the legacy they want to leave behind. And I'm also getting family planning. They want to either be a father, they want to be family man, or they want to be that rock. Not about holding it up and everything. They want to provide consistent, solid emotional support. That's really relevant here. I don't normally get that. It's as if we're on a cycle that's marked by checking out. And again, like I said, we can deal with the pain of self-betrayal or we can deal with the pain of self-respect. Self-betrayal means we're going to go along to get along. We're going to comply, not cooperate. We're going to be complicit in some type of virtue signaling, which means, we're gonna lose our voice. We're gonna go along to keep the peace. Dealing with the pain of self-respect means we need to hold our boundaries. We need to hold our standards, respect our own standards, hold our boundaries. We might need to walk if love's not being served. We might need to, terminate access to us, even though we have unconditional love and that will never change. Definitely with the King of Cups. Doesn't mean that we always need to nurture or attend to the nurturing in the situation. Just because we have unconditional love doesn't mean we have unconditional tolerance. Just because we'll love this person, this individual, this energy, entity, ideology forever and ever and ever and ever, even into the next life, doesn't mean we need to, service any type of, attachment, or we need to attend to any type of nurturing. We can love them and love them from afar and love them from across the road, across the street, or across town, and not need to, give no F about them that kind of way. Not that we would. It's dramatizing an idea so we understand that concept. Because the love here is cosmic. Even though we are not together, we are connected through and through. When I sleep, I dream of you. When I'm awake, I think of you. I am able to feel you as if you were physically here. That's the narrative here. Time's a waiting, time's a ticking. There's a narrative here. Things are either moving too fast, too slow. Time is difficult to calculate when we're in union, but feels ever ending when we are apart. Okay, and there is some distance. It doesn't need to actually be across the globe, but there is something separating. And I'm hearing that song Bag Lady, so we might be carrying something around. Somebody has a narrative. I'm getting that there's a narrative here that's fundamentally incorrect, but it might be about the feelings or the experience, and so we might need to marinate. Excuse me. We might need to marinate in that narrative to come to some kind of reality, to come to some type of assessment. So we got in here, we got the generalized energy. I need to do one more timing indicator. Around that Libra moon, we might move into some type of union. The moon is going to be full in Libra in a little bit under 2 weeks. And I'm hearing the week following that Libra full moon. The full moons is we begin to dissipate energy, we begin to clear out karma around the full moon. Around the new moon, we begin to incorporate and implement an intention. Okay. Meaning there's been some type of inception. There's a threshold of starting. The threshold of ushering in a new energy around the new moon. So I'm just putting that out there because we're going to be successful into our vision. We have a successful future here, but it's talking about coming together, and it really is about a discussion. The discussion is not always words and communication and intellect and reasoning and rationale and logics. In fact, it's about, like I said, mutually beneficial nursing needs exchange means you need to be amenable, agreeable, approachable, accessible. I have a feeling up until recently we were not that way. That's what I'm getting here. Again, my name is Serene Priestess of Blosi. I'll be your oracle today. Vertex of Venus is the galactic temple of ascension. We deliver sacred messages from behind the veil. If anything resonates deeply with you, go ahead and comment, share, subscribe, leave a review, book a consult, send a donation. Information is in the show notes, including any information on a flash sale, etc. Okay, because the sessions are not that accessible on purpose. We're moving into the mission school model, but that won't be until the end of the year. So for new students. So now we're moving into an energy where we're clarifying massive action, whatever that is, whatever that looks like. Massive action is some kind of new beginning because seeds are going to be planted, or there's going to be some traction on a foundation that was laid previously. Because something happened about a week ago, some type of reunion, and I'm getting that it was not a physical reunion. I'm getting that it was energetic. There's some judgment in the current precise moment, and it feels spiritual. So new seeds might be getting planted, or new action, new traction, or new beginning from seeds that have already been planted, because there's going to be new massive action. Okay, there's some illumination, enlightenment here. There might even be an epiphany. New seeds being planted is 7 of Pentacles with the Fool card. But the translation here is that there's going to be new action, new traction. Knight of Wands, King of Wands is massive action from seeds that were planted in the past. 7 of Pentacles, which actually means that that's foundation that's already been laid, but now there's going to be some kind of manifestation thereof, because 10 of Swords, that is typically an ordeal ending, a combination of a difficult, most particularly difficult cycle. However, it can be some type of breakthrough from a previous breakdown where there's been some type of illumination or enlightenment from something that's been pre-established. And we are mirrored and countered here by the Six of Cups, which tells me that there's some type of agreement pre-existing. Because we had the Four of Wands, now we have the Six of Cups. Let's both talk about a pre-existing agreement before we come here, manifest here in this physical plane. It tells me that it's not so much about figuring out in this lifetime as much as it is about completing something from a previous lifetime. Yes, the Six of Cups means, reunion and reconciliation and all of that, but it actually means there's a soul agreement here, and the sixes always mean receiving. The Six of Cups specifically means receiving anointing. It can also talk about safe space, which is sanctuary and refuge, and I'm getting actually all of this. I'm getting all of that here. Now, to a lesser degree, we can be dealing with an Aries. Sun in Aries, Cancer rising. Okay. Cancer rising would mean that the 10th house is Aries. And I was saying before, hey, whenever the sun moves to the 10th house or the sign of Aries, we're going to get some action, some traction here. And that's right in the middle of summer. A lot of people want to, what is that word? Cuffing season. I don't think it's that's the season. But I do know in certain communities, people like to couple up during the warmer months. They're working on their beach body or all of that. And then some, both Aries energy and the King of Wands, they are fine. Okay. They're exceptionally attractive. It's just in the nature of the King of Wands. Yeah, so about a week ago, there was a reunion of some kind, and it doesn't have to mean in the physical. Yeah, there has been a judgment. There has been a judgment or something's being implemented because an idea arrived. Now, there's a creative new beginning here. Ace of Wands, and it comes with positive news. What I want to say here is that it has to deal with some kind of love, and love. Honestly, we're not just going to get, you sassy. We're going to get adoration and affection. Being told we're sexy or being seen as very attractive is the Page of Wands. Being told messages of affection and adoration is the Page of Cups. Beloved, honestly, somebody is considering us their beloved, but we are in this oppositional framework right now because in the past we really needed to break free from something, Ten of Swords, but now it's a Two of Swords. So we're of an opposing mind. It can mean multiple things. Yes, sometimes the Two of Swords does mean indecision, being indecisive. It can just mean having to deal with dichotomies, paradoxes, opposing ideas. It can also mean that the answer is no. It can also mean that we need to deliberate because our feelings are not going to change when the facts change. All the facts are clear. The answer is going to change when our feelings change because we don't know how we feel about said facts. It's not that we don't actually know the facts. The facts are clear. Our feelings aren't yet clear because there is some kind of choice with this Love cards, and I'm hearing lover, McLover. So I don't know what that's about. Okay. But there is something there. I'm hearing that precise language, lover, McLover. So this may be romantic, and I gotta be honest, when we're having a second house or a Venus in the second house, so that's a double whammy. Because Venus could be in any house. Well, it's going to be in the 12th, first, or second house. Venus is never far away from the sun. So Venus is in the second house right now, and the sign is Taurus. You know what that tells me is that this is not about a fleeting connection. It's not. It would be sustainable, it would be foundational, and it would be pivotal, or it wouldn't be coming up. Wait till the summer months when we're moving through Leo. That's a different story because it would be just about fun and be just about self-expression, be about the experience and being playful and childlike. This is not that. There's a seriousness here, and unfortunately, it might seem practical to someone, but on our end, we need clarity. There's this thing I'm picking up here. I don't know the source of it yet. I'm saying this kind of a little premature. The answer is not going to change for us because we're getting safety signals. We're needing clarity and cohesion. Somebody else might have took a little bit of time until they felt safe. See, that's not us. There's a difference there. Sometimes people want to be friends first, and the reason behind that is that they need a safety signal. That's not where we are, even if that's our model. What we need is a clarity signal, not a safety signal. And so this creative new beginning, the other side, whatever is oppositional to us, there's gonna be a decision and there's gonna be signaling of the fact that we're either being chosen or we're this thing that they're going towards. And it's gonna come as a surprise. And the reason I'm saying friends is because either we're gonna get hit with Cupid's arrow, this person might not be a romantic candidate for us. We might not look at them that way, and then suddenly something changes. For the men watching, and this is not something that I suggest because personally I don't. If we don't, I like amplitude. So if we don't have a spark in the beginning, I don't want to circle back, spin the block, come back around as we're already friends to discuss the love. But that's not for everybody. If you are male watching and you want to get out of the friend zone, the basis of the guidance, and it's different strokes for different folks, the basis of the guidance is to be seen in a different light. Not to wait around, not to find some opportunistic moment, but literally to change the vibe. You've settled into a frequency energy vibration and you need it to be different. No, don't just change your energy, don't just change your looks, don't just change the pace, don't just change the space. It needs to all be up in flux so that there's so many new vectors, so many new variables that discussion of intimacy then it's not the same old same. Even if the conversation content is new, the energy needs to be new as well. And there's a shakeup here with the tower. When you have the tower in the lover's card, it can be Mars and Gemini, it could be Mars in the third house, but it also could be two people coming together romantically that previously were like brother and sister. They were a friend zone, they were comfortable with each other, they were in the same community. Okay. And also, it can mean that there's a spark suddenly, Cupid's arrow. It could mean that some external party is it's like a setup, and usually it's a surprising one. All of that comes under the tower. And so 2 weeks from now, excuse me, a month from now, so around the Aries new moon, and just over 3 weeks, just under four, there's going to be an Aries new moon. And that might be the time to really look at the foundation. You're going to want Mercury to be in Aries as well, or the North Node. I don't think the North Node's anywhere near Aries. So, because right now it's an estrangement, okay? Queen and King of Swords, they're committed to being estranged. It could also be a delayed message too, that it's been clear to one party, but now it's made clear to every party because when you have the magician and the tower, it typically talks about a communication breakdown, like an argument, specifically. Whatever it is, it's an explosive conversation. And there's a revelation that comes from the opposing side, and the opposing side is actually standing up for love. So there's a situation where we're in where we're really not seeing somebody romantically. The only other explanation here can be that the ancestors or the ascendant, the spirit team, it's multiple. Okay, it's the heaven, not the highest heaven, but it's the heaven. Typically, the Lovers card combined with and we'll clarify, I don't need to, but we'll clarify. Typically, the Lovers card with the Judgment means standing up for love. It can mean the spirit team, the ancestors, the benevolent ancestors, or the ascendant masters, or some type of exalted spirit, or the guardian angels. It could be bearing the hatchet. There's a little bit of love hate here too. Somebody could actually be um, there could be some self-interest, which is the reason that something's not going anywhere. Because honestly, it feels like we're not doing much of anything, Four of Cups, because we're working on ourselves. We're just not looking out there. And somebody's been waiting on a signal. And, you know, that works for some people. It might be advisable to not wait for luck, but create some luck, if you hear what I'm saying. Not wait for the moment, but to create a moment. And of course, that might require refinement. Not everybody can handle an inelegant, unrefined exchange. Some of us don't care about that. Others of us need it to be refined. So somebody's been waiting for a moment here. And what they don't know is that we kind of blocked out a whole lot. We moved into a place of self interest, not selfishness, but we were working on ourselves, or we had some kind of boundaries and standards that really just repelled any energy that wasn't clear. And certain things might have been blocked. Perhaps, mayhaps somebody got blocked. That's not what I'm getting. What I'm getting is that nothing made it through. No type of subliminal message, no type of lack of clarity. If somebody didn't state their needs and intentions, if they didn't define their mission, state their objective, declare their intentions, it wasn't going to get met. We weren't going to read between the lines. We weren't going to, read the writing on the wall. If it didn't come and if it wasn't explicitly said, it was just overlooked and dismissed. And there's nothing wrong with that for a season, and that's the season that we were in. But there's another energy here that is saying, listen, I'm ripe for the taking. I want to make a commitment. And it's almost as if it's not even that we're non-romantic. We have the King of Swords here and the King of Swords here. It's like, until things are made very clear, not signaled, not energy projected or feelings projected, not somebody tries to create an experience, but until it's explicitly said, spelled out, it's not going to go anywhere. And again, I keep talking about just after the Libra new moon, 2 weeks after the Libra, just after the Libra full moon, 2 weeks after the Libra full moon is the Aries new moon. That's about 3 weeks away, a little bit over 3 weeks away. Okay? So in 3 to 4 weeks, we're going to master either some type of technical skill, or we're going to we're going to want some type of intellect, reason, and communication around what's currently at this precise, most particular moment, a delayed message. And if there's been a delayed message and somebody looks at us as beloved, what that means is that we're not hearing. Because this is a partnership. They're wanting a union. They're not just wanting some kind of casual or fleeting. They want everything forever and for always. That's what they want. Oh my gosh. Did you see that? Fragmentation of the soul. For some reason, that's relevant. That's way too many cards for me, honestly. Now, masquerading. If I catch deception in these cards here, I'm going to be agitated. Okay, deception did not come out. So somebody could be fooling themselves, attempts to conceal their feelings and authentic intentions, feels powerless and may resort to lying to gain greater control over the environment. This other party's going to have a glow up, but they're still going to be feeling victimized. I don't like that energy. Don't approach me with that personally, but that is how some people get in there. That's called compassion baiting. If you feign victimhood or you project your feelings of victimhood onto the other party to gain their attention and corral them into a dialogue, communication, conversation, then it's suboptimal. I mean, not everybody dislikes that. Okay, because it's talking about springtime here. Now that's in North America. It'll be fall. I mean, that's in the Northern Hemisphere. In the Southern Hemisphere, it'll be fall. But spring as an archetype, if you're not in the Northern Hemisphere, talks about the planting of seeds, the creating, the setting up foundation, that Seven of Pentacles. That fruits are going to be blossoming. There will be richness, and it will be increasing richness. It won't be a fleeting experience. Somebody just doesn't know how to speak up, and that is what we require again. So words are jumbled, things were left unsaid, unable to speak, unwilling to say the truth, too much in their head and unable to express their emotions rationally. I just cannot help. I just cannot. I'm feeling hopeless, helpless. There's nothing I can do. Life is what it is, and I just have to accept the circumstance. Okay, so you're going to sit on the sidelines even though you have access to me, and you're going to do nothing about your feelings. And then when I start to do something or move another way or switch it up or whatever, what have you, then you're going to get agitated because you've been sitting there waiting for an opportunity when you've had this opportunity the whole time. Just because you didn't feel right or the moment wasn't right, okay, you had direct access to me and you did nothing with it. So what I'm gaining is that there's going to be some type of glow up. This isn't a universal spot, so we share this energy, but when it falls out face down, it's mostly about the other person. So if we have a glow up, if they have a glow up, all of a sudden they're either going to feel like we should be giving them attention, or they're going to be afraid because we're getting more attention that they're going to lose access to us. And I mean, that's again suboptimal. If now the only reason why you're saying something is because you're going to lose an opportunity when you've had the opportunity all along, that's actually manipulation. Now, here's the deal. If you're hiding your intent, it's very possible that you're being deceptive. And I'm not saying that to us, that this is how it works in general. So fall, because as the situation progresses, it says the fall. Okay, so we have spring and fall here. So very much could be that right now something's happening. Because in the southern hemisphere, it's fall. In the northern hemisphere, it's spring. When you have the counterbalance of seasons, it means right now, here in the now, something's happening. Because we got our mind on the money and money on our mind. We're just thinking about handling up, being on our thug on our flow, on our grind. We're not looking around, checking around for somebody that ain't checking for us. And if you're gonna come through, pull through, come hard to stand on business, be about what you're about. Don't sit there and sneak a dig, reek a tweak, and be sideways, sneaky, and seditious. Say what you mean, say what you feel, be about what you're about, declare your intention, state your mission, define your objective. Don't hint at no nothing. This is what I'm getting here. Because free will, like I said, you had the moment, you had the opportunity, you had access, and you did nothing with it. This is what I'm getting. So fragmentation of the soul, like I'm saying, that there were clearly things for this individual to work through. On our end, we needed to chill. Our soul was tired. We've been to too much, through much. It was too much, too much. We just needed a moment to sit and mind our own business. This is what I'm getting. Irrational, unexplained fears checking out in certain situations, overreactions to seemingly small problems, significant drama from the past. What I'm getting also is that they're upset that they're not getting attention. They feel like that we've changed or that we're acting weird because they have some increase. Maybe they have a glow up and they feel like we pull back because they got more attention now, or we're getting attention and they they don't act in a way that suggests healing and awakening. Their wounds and trauma come to the surface and they speak and act from those wounds and trauma. It's fine to have pain, it's fine to have experience in the past, it's fine to be working through things, but that's what I'm saying. Self-work, you have to own your stuff. You can say, listen, I'm not feeling right because this is coming up for me. Here's what I want. Here's what I need. I'm working through it. I'm thinking through it. I'm going to dialogue and discuss this with you versus, oh, well, this because, or this because, if your feelings are present, if your feelings matter, then they're not applicable. And when they are applicable, they shouldn't matter. And that actually just, it's a hygiene thing. It's not to invalidate your experience or dismiss your feelings. That's not what I'm saying. You need to be able to process your feelings because your feelings inform your experience. Your experience reinforces your needs and standards. Without needs and standards being respected and met, there's not going to be sustained emotional attunement. Emotional attunement gives an enduring connection. Enduring connection is a cohesive fabric for the relationship, whether it's congenial or filial, meaning whether it's romantic or non-romantic. Men need purpose, women need emotional attunement. And it's not about the gender, it's about the energetic orientation. Some male assigned or identified people actually need the emotional attunement. And as long as they match up with a partner that is on the purpose driven side, that's fine. I hope that made sense because I don't want to explain more. But that's what I'm getting here. So we have the divine feminine, it came out, but also glutinous gossip. So somebody is going to sit there has a narrative that this is what this is. Overindulging and over consumption of personal narratives that may or may not be true. gluttonous gossip. It could be self-talk too. It doesn't have to be with their friend, but it can be. If they're sitting there and yelling and yodeling and whining and wailing and quabbling and quibbling to their friends, unable to control and has an overwhelming need to share false and misleading information. Whatever little flim and flimsy that comes into their mind, they parrot it out and regurgitate it out and vomit it out without processing and working through it and in thinking through their own structure, their own knowledge base, their own language structure. It says here, I'm working on my divine feminine. So we're the one who's working through it. We're actually working on our divine feminine side. I know I need to be more nurturing, understanding, and compassionate, meaning accessible and approachable, amenable and agreeable towards myself and others. I want to be more soft and loving, especially towards you. But sometimes you need to just retreat and work on yourself. If we're a grown adult, we don't need somebody to wipe our behind and brush our teeth. We can do that for ourselves. Okay. And it's fine to have somebody there that could be an emotional backdrop or whatever, but sometimes we don't want to do group processing or co-regulating. Sometimes we just want to work through it on our own. Sometimes we don't want to ask for help until we know what we're thinking, until we know what we're feeling, until we know what we're needing. And at least if we know that we don't know what we're thinking, feeling, and needing, then we can say, hey, I don't actually know where I'm at with this right now, but here's what's going on. Versus, hey, this is what I'm going through, and then letting somebody regurgitate on what we should do or not. Sometimes the solution is not always the answer. Sometimes holding space and modeling support, just saying, hey, if you need any support, I'm here, I got you. And that's it, that's all. There are people out there that don't understand that or don't respect that. Sometimes other people will regulate their own emotions by managing other people's behaviors. And that's actually what happens when the divine feminine retreats and goes inside. All they're looking for is peace and clarity and security within themselves. Doesn't mean that they can't be soft. It doesn't mean that they can't, collaborate and co-create and cooperate. Doesn't mean that they can't even co-regulate or group process. But what they're wanting to do is to hear their own thoughts and to feel their own feelings first. Because balancing here, something here is out of balance, it's out of whack, it's out of whack. So I'm trying to balance the scales of my life and our connection. I took from you more than I was able to give. I used you for my own benefit. I now understand this was unhealthy and unfair to you. So what I'm hearing is that the divine feminine felt like they were projecting whatever it was, even if it wasn't through dialogue and communication, even if they didn't pop up at the mouth, they have the little Jerry Springer chicken neck, cause an issue, raising drama, and all of that, and then some. They might have felt that something was disproportionate, unequal. They might have just wanted to check themselves, to reflect on some things. They might have felt out of whack and out of balance. Then that didn't have to be active drama. It didn't have to be an active conflict. They might have already saw that they were leaving behind their own autonomy. Because like I said in the beginning, you deal with the pain of self-respect or self-betrayal. Pain, austerity cleanses. There's a difference between struggling and suffering. Suffering is unnecessary, but pain is inevitable. So it's going to be hard to get self-respect. It's going to be hard to deal with self-betrayal. So choose your heart. And the divine feminine chose self-respect. Yeah, sometimes that's about establishing boundaries and communicating needs. Sometimes it's about doing the shadow work and the self-healing. Sometimes, because you don't work on the other person, you work on yourself. The other person doesn't work on you, they work on themselves. And then we come together and we work on the relationship together. And yeah, sometimes, we have a diminished capacity or whatever, we're going through an injury, we just had surgery or whatever, and we might need a little bit of support. But as long as we're, grown, we got to mind our own side of the road. And even if that's not what we're doing, having the capacity and the wherewithal to notice what our own side of the road is, that's a power in and of itself. That's an autonomy in and of itself. Because how this is reading is that the feminine was wanting autonomy, franchise, and control. And look, we have divine feminine here and divine masculine here with power couple, past life, and divine masculine. Right now, it's a no, but not now, but maybe later. And something, because what I got in the very beginning was that something was all popping up at the mouth, feeling mad, feeling overlooked, feeling diluted, diminished, distorted, dejected, whatever, what have you, so on and so forth, et cetera, ad nauseum and infinitum, because they weren't getting the attention that they wanted. But did they petition for attention? Did they speak up and declare their intention? Did they say what they were about? Did they come through, pull through, come hard to stand on business, or did they just sit there on the sidelines waiting for their little moment? And I'm saying little moment not to diminish and invalidate. I'm saying it might not have raised to the level of concern when there are other matters at hand, because it might have been a small and not a large. And love is not to be dismissed. Love is a heavenly experience. The thing about it is sometimes that whole love paradigm is going on in a person's mind, and it needs to be said out loud, made out loud. So one thing I do know is that the masculine energy here now is trying to make it real, trying to make it happen. That's good. That's great. More power to you. It might not happen for another month. It's going to take 3 to 4 weeks to even establish the foundation. Not that, initialize. The foundation's already been laid, but to initialize, to gain some traction. And we got all of that from these 2 aces here, because 2 aces means union. We also have 2 pages here, so there does need to be a lot of communication. Okay. And again, something's happening between the Libra full moon and the Aries new moon. That's the little window. It's been iterated a few times, more than twice. Yeah, okay. So someone's trying to move towards love. They want to offer love, but it's a bad seed among others. Something here is not clean. Something here is not kosher. Something here did not get set up the right way, or somebody leaned into fear, illusion, confusion, and it's a loss of patience. So this whole "you're not giving me attention" narrative that I'm hearing, here we have it. Here it's finally proven. When you have the Strength card with the Temperance, la temperanza, it can mean 2 things: detachment or losing patience. Because somebody already wants to start. Somebody already is itching to get this off the ground. They found their little new confidence or whatever. And I'm saying little, I don't mean to diminish or dilute or invalidate. What I mean is, like, it's one-sided. So they think it matters, but it might not be agreed that it's important to both. Yes, it matters. Absolutely. You may even have a need. That's great. I might not be able to accommodate that need right now. Doesn't mean that that's invalid. Doesn't mean that it needs to be dismissed. It means that's true for you. Go and get your needs met. Don't project that on me until we both agree that that's relevant to the both of us. Just because you feel some kind of way, great, wonderful. I love that for you. But if you're going to impose and project on me, let's be on the same page and agree to the same thing. Otherwise, it's you and your little feelings. Not that your little feelings are dismissed, not that your little feelings are invalidated, but your little feelings are relevant and real to you. You can definitely have those needs, but I don't have to accommodate those needs for you. That's what I'm getting, that the divine feminine is working through. And I'm not actually feeling that the divine feminine has even had that conversation yet or had that thought process yet, but that's what's going to come up soon. Because the masculine side here, and this is not a love reading, but it's coming out like one, they're going to be itching for attention the moment that they find their courage. And really, we're finishing, we're completing something where the divine feminine, or the us over here, whoever's watching, we have been cold, detached, real cutthroat in terms of truth, clarity. Be clear on your needs, be clear on your intentions, define your mission, state your objective, declare your intention. And it's, again, like I said, truth, 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 truth. And when you have the Strength card and the Queen of Swords, it's like double, triple whammy. There's nothing wrong with this, but you can grow together or you can grow apart. Both are fine as long as it's not by accident, meaning lacking in intention. If we don't have shared agreements, shared ideas, shared values, and shared beliefs, we're not working on this. We're working on each other. How's that going to be for fairness? How's that going to really be for longevity? You know, is the opposing us, that person is they've healed. They've healed. On our sin, what it is actually we had to find some emotional fortitude. So we're working on our strength, courage, and wisdom. The thing about it is something's going to come out in the open, and somebody's going to have a little bit of issue hiding their rage, or we're going to feel like we need to tame this person. Like we need to wrangle them down to the ground, tell them to chill out and get with it. What it is though, let me just tell you, 10 of wands with the 2 of wands, you know what that means? They've been carrying a flame for a long time, especially with the sun. That's confirmed. But again, they might have also had a taste of the divine, like literally soul healing, soul group and soul healing. It's like almost as if like God came for them, or Allah, Buddha, Shekinah, Jehovah, whatever, what have you, so on and so forth. The divine came for them. They either, I don't think they got the vapors of the Holy Ghost, but they had some type of connection. It's not just an experience. It's like they're tuned in to the Lord. And what it is the angels are with them. We have the ministering angel temperance, we have the archangel judgment. When you have the sun, and this is Melchizedek, the sun and the temperance card together. 14 plus 19 is 33, by the way. And remember when I was talking about the lovers card, I was saying the higher heaven. That's when this energy first started to come out. So the narrative is very clear to me now. They're going to stand up for love. They're going to try to protect this relationship. They're going to try to get something off the ground if they weren't already. They're going to try to come out of the friend zone if that's where they are, because I feel definitely that's where they are. And what we're going to do is going to say, like, okay, what is this demonic issue you're bringing at me? Now all of a sudden, I got to wrangle you down to the ground. I got to wrestle you down. Either that or rage. Like, they don't hide their anger. This is us, by the way, not them. This is us. This is our side over here. And what this is saying, when you have I keep hearing the high priestess, so that's rage. High priestess in the devil, high priestess in the tower, high priestess in the devil, that's rage, anger, unadulterated, meaning it's not filtered out. Strength card and the devil means you overcome some type of darkness. Let's see how the devil comes out after the strength card. It literally means somebody's going to let it out of the bag. We might pop up at the mouth, cuss them out, tell them off, set some kind of boundary, and not care about the fallout. You feel some kind of way, good for you. This also can talk about unrequited love a little bit when you have the 2 of cups and the devil. See, I said death, meaning the connection is severed. We have a double 10 here, but it's not the 10 of cups, 10 of pentacles. It's the 10 of wands, 10 of cups, meaning, listen, we're connected in the heavens, maybe another lifetime, but right now, homie, no. How long have I known you? Why is this coming up just now? And are you trying to tell me that we had to go through some struggle, love, just to figure out that you have feelings? How long have you known? I'm catching that so strong. But in 2 weeks from now, there's going to be some type of burden that lifts, and they're going to receive glory. But really, it's that we can be perma-friends. They're going to want some type of long-term relationship. And at the very, very least, something's going to come out of the dark. So there's no doubt in my mind, devil and the sun card mean passive aggression, honestly. Overt aggression, actually. Passive aggression is the tower and the hangman. Overt aggression is the devil and the sun. It either means something comes out of the dark or overt aggression. So at the very least, something's going to come out of the dark, and it's going to be that they've been holding on, keeping on for a very, very long time. But it's opportunistic. See, this is what I keep getting, and it's agitating my soul. Because look at this. You have the Knight of Swords with the Seven of Swords. You know what that means? They desire strategy, tactics, and they're going to use some type of cunning tactic. When really it means they were sneaking around. Sideways, seditious, is sneaky, trifling, treacherous, and treasonous. That's the Seven of Swords. Lone wolf energy here. So what it means is, okay, I'm getting words that I don't want to say on the channel. Like, this is an energy, they don't need to be like this. They could, at the very, very least, in the most benign way, something is going to be revealed that was always there. It was a truth in plain sight that we might have been allowed to overlook or interpret differently when they could have clarified it a long, long time ago. And this is an energy of infiltration, penetration, especially when it comes out together. Seven of Swords and the Knight of Swords. So, we're going to have to build on whatever happens because we have a double seven here. When a double seven comes out in a reading, that's an alert. It's an alert that we're going to lose some type of solid ground that we have. And it's an alert that some type of manipulation either happened or is about to happen. And the Seven of Swords, which is the manipulation indicators in the future. So about a week from now, somebody's going to try to manipulate a long-term relationship. Now, somebody here could be a Taurus, or said differently, a Leo rising. Somebody here could be a Virgo, or said differently, a Sagittarius rising. But disappointment is around the corner, or it was in the past, and they're trying to overcome some disappointment. I don't know what that is, what that looks like, what that's about. But they're going to try to offer us a long-term relationship. And at the very least, we're going to need to deal with our disappointment. Yeah, bubbles bursting, but we're going to need to deal with some disappointment because there's some logistical stuff on our end because this is corruption. So the foundation is corrupted. A vow gets broken, oath gets broken. And on their end, they're like, okay, I finally feel right. I feel safe. I feel whatever. Okay, that's fine, but your actions also affect me. That do what you do, handle how you handle, heal how you heal. I'm not gonna, your feelings are valid and relevant to you. I don't need to invalidate that or dismiss that. However, I don't need to accommodate them. I keep getting that language. We're going to be dealing with major disappointment. And honestly, it's almost like we're seen as tribute in some kind of way. So I would like to clarify this. Yeah, it's sneaking through Il Nemico. It's an adversarial competitive energy. When they were sitting there in the dark, Regione, they were stuck the way that they feel, the way that they share, they were stuck that way for a long time. For a long, long time. And they've had it on their mind for a long, long time. Meanwhile, the whole time they've had access. They could have been one-on-one with us at any moment. So it comes out at the most inopportune time because it's contrived. L'allegria is not allegria al cuore. It's not joy of the heart. This is fake joy, false joy. It comes out of a bottle. So whatever happens is contrived. It's not authentic. So that whole waiting in the friend zone, waiting for the perfect moment, waiting to feel comfortable, whatever, this is not it. Because it wouldn't feel contrived when it came out. It would come out naturally, it would come out organically. This is not that. Yeah, because look, gun to the head. Disperata per gelosia, that means the desperate jealousy. They're in great distress and they're sitting there la falsita. Put it on a face, put it on the front, and really behind the scenes is something else. They've been sitting there watching and waiting for a moment that never comes, so much so that now they become overwhelmed with distress. They become distraught. That's why they say something. I mean, I picked it up somehow. They were feeling like they weren't getting attention or whatever, or what have you. And so it's gonna be a disappointment for us. It's the word that I got was corruption. Something gets corrupted. Yeah. We're going to do a good job at handling the situation, but we are going to have to burst a bubble. And I'm not sensing, I'm not seeing that a relationship comes together. Yeah, this person wants to give us all this affection now. However, all this affection now, Gran Senora, King of Cups again. But see, after all this time, we'd rather let it die than certainly turn into their lover all of a sudden. This is what I'm getting. It's unfortunate. So, yeah, we were soulmates, but we didn't get twin flame and we didn't get happily ever after or fulfilled. We didn't get any of that energy. Yeah, sentimentality, instant messages, courage. Courage is still in reverse. I don't care what it takes, how long it takes, who I upset, I'm going to return to you one way or another. But you see, it's sitting on unsent messages in the reverse as well. I really want to tell you how I feel, but is it too late? Will you understand what I'm trying to say, or will you misinterpret my messages? I'd rather not say anything at all. Please don't. Please do not. I don't need to invalidate your feelings or dismiss your experience. Just handle it with your therapist or your friends or whatever, because this is a burden. Whatever's coming is a burden. 10 of Wands. The memories of us bring joy and agony at the same time. I think about you continuously, and you are never far from my thoughts, evidently. So now we are the one having the glow up. Overcoming negativity. That's why we went inside and became the Queen of Swords with the Strength card. We had to find emotional fortitude, which is strength, courage, and wisdom. Connecting with others, positive vibes, and a new phase in life. Feeling confident and being on the right path in life. Now, I want to give another interpretation in case we don't. Okay, but hold on. Infatuation. I dislike this card because you're coveting us. You're not cherishing us. You're not treating us like a treasure. You're treating us like a trophy. What this means is you don't want nobody else to get us. That's what it tells me. That's what I'm getting. That's what I'm feeling. That's what I'm sensing. That's what I'm seeing. Okay? That's my professional judgment and my personal opinion. I don't know if this was love or if I was in love with the idea of being in love. Our connection was all too consuming and I cannot wrap my head around it. It was clear to me before that card came out. We got to keep going for a moment. Now, for those of us not in love, okay, I need to make it very clear. Side topic. For those of us not in love, we're going to have strong values, strong vision for what we want to commit to in our lives. And if something does not meet our standards and boundaries, we're not going to give to it. We don't want any type of disorganized attachment, whether it's romantic or otherwise. When things are disorganized in their attachment style, it means we flip from anxious to avoidant. The avoidant vector is when somebody prioritizes their self-autonomy more than the connection. And it doesn't mean that they don't want attachment. It means that they are more willing to stonewall than they are willing to escalate because they value their autonomy. The anxious vector in a relationship values the connection, values the other person more than they value their autonomy. And so that person is more willing to escalate and more willing to project or put pressure than they are willing to deal with ambiguity and deal with uncertainty. When a connection is secure, it just means that we have everything that we need to service whatever attachment it is. If the attachment is too codependent, that's enmeshment. If the attachment is too abusive or maladaptive, idiosyncratic, rigid, and pervasive, that's toxic. If the attachment is not clear and one-sided, that is an insecure attachment. If we don't have what we need to service our attachment, that is an insecure attachment. It's not about wrong or bad or good or it's not about runner. It's not about chaser. One person requires autonomy. The other person requires connection. We either have what we need to service our attachment or we don't have what we need to service our attachment. That's what makes it secure insecure. If it's disorganized, it's because it's a circular logic, it's a spiral and a flip-flop. It's also insecure if it's one-sided. Now, insecure could be toxic, it could be just plain insecure, or it could be enmeshment, which is mildly. That's might be pathological diagnosis. It might just be a value assessment. This works, this doesn't work. This is good, this isn't good. That's it, that's all. A lot of times we have a narrative, or a lot of times we start saying what's going on with the other person. No. It's not that that's not relevant. It's not that that's good or bad. It's not that that's not true. It's not that it's invalid. Are we getting our needs met or not? Yes or no? Are our boundaries respected or not? Yes or no? Are our standards being satisfied or not? Yes or no? That's it, that's all. It is a value assessment. It is not a moral judgment. Be clear on that. Because what we got here was child magical in the reverse and slave in the reverse. What that means is that somebody is giving away their personal power. They're externalizing their willpower and authority out of fear of making their own choices. I said earlier in the beginning, somebody had access to the object of their affection and they did not know nothing. They didn't make no nothing. And now we're having a glow up. Now our environment surrounding location is evolving. Now we're having a boss up, a level up, a handle up, a get up, a glow up, a level up. And somebody is at fear of being left behind, being overlooked, diluted, diminished, distorted, and rejected. And that's not our fault, that's not our problem. That's definitely true and valid for them. Baby, I hope you get all your needs met. I hope you work that out. I don't know if I'm going to be the one to work that out with you. That's the message I'd like us to walk away with, because we have also child magical. Now, whenever you have a child archetype, it tells us that there was abuse, whether it's trauma and drama from the developmental period, whether it's trauma and drama from the connection itself. Somebody is in their wounds. And then when you have it in reverse, it means that's not a potential, it is a fact, it's a reality. Now, again, opinions are everybody has an opinion, but facts are, by consensus. Pessimism, depression, disbelief in miracles, believing that energy and action are not required for growth. So what did I say? They didn't come through, pull through, come hard, to stand on business. They sit there on the sidelines with a little narrative and it's sitting in their little feelings. And I'm saying little, not to dismiss. I'm saying little feelings, not to invalidate. I'm saying little feelings because it's a one-sided narrative. Their feelings are true and valid to them. We do not need to accommodate them, not that we wouldn't. But if it's a mutually beneficial nouristic needs exchange, or it was open up front, or if they declare their needs and intentions, or if they stated their objective, define their mission, that would be a different story. Then all of a sudden they're worried about missing out and they become distressed, and then they regurgitate and vomit all over us that they have some unrequited love. You hear what I'm saying? Martyr, monk, liberator, trickster. Okay, so here's the deal. There's duplicity here, and it's manipulation. It might be that we asked them to hold the role of something that would be relegated to a lover. It might be that we asked them to hold the role of something where they were never going to receive the benefit. For those of us who are not having a romantic situation, it might be that we asked them to serve the role of some things that we never felt that they were entitled to receive the benefit of. Okay, so that's something as well. But there was manipulation and duplicity here, and it's in the past. Okay, they feel like a liberator, so they're looking at all the places where we appear to be lacking, and they want to come through, pull through, and be the knight in shining armor, or save the day, or I'm hearing that Captain Save-A-Ho. I don't like that narrative, but that's what I'm hearing. And I'm not talking about HEAUX, which is the emotional war. I'm talking about HOE, which is even worse to say. But that's the narrative that I'm getting here. So you know, we want to free ourselves up from outmoded beliefs. We want to release negative thought patterns. We don't want to deal with this. Let's not be dismissive about it. But we don't. This is not our circus, not our monkeys. It's not our problem. That's a them problem, not an us problem. Okay. I'm not saying I'm saying us as in we. Like it's not both of us to deal with it. You got to go over there, baby. Deal with your feelings. Circle back when you can come correct, or just stay gone, and that's fine. I don't want to end it here, but I'm perfectly willing if you're going to bring more dark clouds to my sunny sky that I have slaved, clawed through the gutter with bloody fingernails to get to. Okay, that's just what I'm feeling because they're in the reverse, the shadow monk. So instead of having selfless devotion and single-minded dedication of spirit, they have negative judgments and they're acting pious, which and it's false because they're in some kind of this is a martyr situation. They need to transcend, and there's going to be pain here. There is going to be some sacrifice. They need to be of service. They need to understand that these feelings that I'm having for us are a vehicle to my illumination and enlightenment, my healing and awakening. These feelings are not actually going to be grounded, actualized, factualized, implemented, and reflected back in unison and reciprocity here in this connection. That is a figment of my imagination. I must accept that. That they're not, that's not where they're at. That's not what this is. We're the face of their problems because we won't return their feelings. That's unfortunate for them, not us. Okay, so we never needed wings to fly. And I think that's what it is. I think we were sitting in the background processing some kind of adverse experience that we had some good time ago that they might have witnessed on the sidelines or even supported us through. And now that we're ready to move on, move forward, they thought that we were moving on, moving forward with them, and we're moving on, moving forward into our bigger, brighter, and better future, and that it doesn't involve them as a partner, and that agitates them to the depths of their soul. But every hurricane comes to an end. Okay, the thing about it is that they wanted to manipulate the situation to their advantage, which that's why they were waiting. But time's a wasting and worlds are waiting. And unfortunately for them, they couldn't get with the program. They couldn't paint themselves into the future. Not with us. Their plans for the future is not collaborative, co-creative. And I've got to be honest, we have three master numbers here, 11, 22, and 44. So the Lord is at work. It's very unfortunate that their feelings are not going to be returned. We might have wanted them to say something a long time ago, and we just moved on, moved forward because they didn't say no, nothing. Okay, but for Venus in general, not this love narrative that I ran off with. Yeah, passions. We want an expansive life, is what this is, and we want collaborative journeys here. What we don't want is anything that's debilitative. If things are not going to be explored together, if we're not going to have shared values, shared beliefs, shared ideas, shared agreements, we're not going to put our time, energy, effort, and attention into them. We're definitely not going to invest in a future with them. And I'm saying them as a person, but it's really anybody, romantic or not, in our life or not. As we come through the cycle that we've gone through, we're only going to invest and we're only going to value in any endeavor, person or otherwise, where the needs and intentions are clear. If something doesn't have a clear intention, a clear objective, a clear mission, it's not going to go. And it doesn't have to be clear in the beginning. Not everything needs to be spelled out. But if it's not open going forward, if we can't examine and explore and have curiosity and examination and investigation going forward, here's the inverse of that. If something is hiding its intention, most likely it's being deceptive. There was deception and manipulation here. That's the cycle that we're coming out of, and it's going to blow up with the fern who wants to be romantic. And, not everybody's going to go through that, but it is going to be everybody was investing in a situation we were being supported in some kind of way. There was a narrative on the other side. That's a one-sided narrative, unfortunately. We're going to have to shut something down because we feel disrespected when the dialogue and the discourse and the communication comes out about it. We're going to lay down some standards and boundaries moving forward to preserve the connection. It is not going to go well, and we're going to have to tame a demon. That is universal to this entire cycle, regardless if love is involved in that narrative or not. So it's been an honor and privilege and a pleasure to serve. Thank you for allowing us to do so. If anything resonates deeply with you, go ahead and smash that like button. You can always book a consult. There is a flash sale going on right now. And until we meet again, until we read again, namaste, dhanava, and ashe. Sayonara, that's Vidanya, Avedizane. Take good care of yourself. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.